Blog Talk Radio. Welcome to Women Who Rock with Success, a digital media source for professional and entrepreneurial women. Did you know that we can be found on Google Play, Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, Sam's Broadcasting, AutoCast, and more? Women Who Rock with Success airs live each Tuesday at 9 a.m. Central Time, followed by our latest brand, Women Who Rock Investigates. We handpick professional women in many areas who can provide credible information in their field to build your business and lifestyle. To learn more about us, just visit our website at www.womenwhorockwithsuccess.com.
And good morning, and welcome to Women Who Rock with Success. We're so delightful that you tuned in with us on today. This is your host, Ms. Diane Winbush. And so just grab a cup of coffee and pull up a seat and get right in to the broadcast on today for this month. For the month of January, we are featuring professional women and experts in the field of marketing and social media marketing. So today we have on the broadcast Ms. Amie Simon. So welcome. Good morning.
Good morning.
Great. So tell us a little bit about you, Amie.
So I'm the Director of Marketing at Smarthouse Creative. We're a marketing agency located in Seattle, Washington, and we work with creative entrepreneurs on marketing strategy, publicity, social media, digital ads, and more.
Okay. And so what was the passion that drove you to this?
Well, I started out as a copywriter about 15 years ago now, doing marketing. And so when social media started up, I just kind of hopped on that bandwagon and really loved it, and really loved helping brands tell their stories through social media and branding elements. So it just kind of evolved from there, and been working in branding for a long time, branding and marketing for a long time.
Great. So for some of the listeners that may be just starting out with their startup business, tell us a little bit about what actually marketing means.
So simply put, marketing is just a way for you to create a relationship with your customers. So just you have a business or you have a service, and you need to get the word out there, and you have friends and family, sure, and word of mouth is great. Definitely don't underestimate word of mouth, but you need a way to tell the world about it. So marketing is that way that you can tell the world about your product or service and build those relationships with your audience, and sell to them what you have.
Great. And so with marketing, for an entrepreneur, how can this be like an impact to a business? Because some individuals, they feel that, I think this is just going to be something that's going to, not work out, or it's going to be too much money to spend and what have you. So how do we help the entrepreneurs to get over that little fear?
Yeah, I mean, you just have to think it's everything that you do is building your brand. So you definitely do need to set aside an actual marketing budget. It can be small, absolutely, but set aside an actual marketing budget. Invest upfront in a team of people who know about social media marketing and publicity. Even if it's just one person, get people on your team who know what they're doing. You can easily outsource some of those things if you can't hire somebody full-time, but just take into account that marketing and branding awareness, all those things are as valuable a return on investment as a hard sale. So getting your name out there first, building your brand, making an impact, sort of disrupting the flow of information is what you're looking to do with marketing. And, if you have a product or business that you're selling, there's really no other way to get it out there. Absolutely, you could do no marketing, but then that is guaranteed that nobody's going to learn what you have and how cool it is. You got to invest a little bit of money, a little bit of time in pushing that word out there so people can learn about you.
I absolutely agree because a lot of times, we individuals will go to networks, live networks, to be able to sit in, to be able to ascertain information, or to be able to pitch their brand out there. But I think it kind of takes a little bit, more of you have to be visible, and then you may have to do a little bit more online, and then you may have to, find other different ways of how to be able to market yourself in order for your product to be, noticeable. So great. And so, what would be a few tips that you would like to start up with, that you would like to share with someone that is starting up, and then they can consider in regards to marketing? I know we talked about we have to save, we have to budget, and what have you.
Yeah.
But so share a few more in-depth tips and stuff. Let's go to, for example, social media.
Mhm.
So
Well,
how
I
would
think
that?
I think it's
Go ahead.
yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Mhm.
Yeah. So social media, a lot of people don't know why they would want social media or don't understand why you would need social media. And again, social media is just a very easy way to connect with your audience and your customers. But I think before I talk about that, let me just put in there that I think my biggest tip would be for a marketer to find their audience. So a lot of times when people have a business or a service or a product, they think, oh, it's like universally appealing and everybody will want this thing. And that is most definitely not the case. So it's really important when you're starting out to really think about who's going to use your product or service, who's going to want your product or service, who are you going to target within your marketing and your social media to sell your product or service. So, if you have a specialty clothing store that's very high end, then you're definitely not going to want to target to, teenagers 12 to 17. Like you want to look at income, you want to look at maybe it's business women, you want to look a little older, but you just have to think about those buckets by demographic, by interest. That's very important as well. And think about all of those things in terms of who you're going to push that information out to, especially when you're spending money on ads. You definitely want to be targeting those ads to a specific audience and not just blanketing it out there to everybody in the world. But social media is it's a very good way to get your word out there to a target audience and make those personal touch points. And it's still very relevant. There are 3.48 billion people on social media. It's one of the first places that they check out when they hear about your company. A lot of people do a Google, and then after they Google you and find your website, they start looking around for those social icons because they want to see what you're talking about on Twitter, what you're talking about on Facebook, what kind of photos you're posting on Instagram. So it's just a very personalized way to reach your customers. You're putting your brand out there, and you're interacting with people and creating touch points that traditional marketing really cannot offer you.
Absolutely. A lot of times individuals, entrepreneurs, and business owners that are just starting out, they will, launch out, and they will create, ads, and they will create a marketing brand, videos, or what have you. The social media has to, the tools that they have to offer to be able to help the entrepreneur. So tell the audience how important it is for them to have a marketing strategy. Some individuals will go on there, they don't have a clue as to how to be able to set up a campaign. They don't know how to set up the photos. They don't know the right images to put in to make their campaign successful. So tell the audience how successful and important it is to have a marketing strategist.
Yeah, and I think that ties into what I was saying earlier about making sure that you invest in a team of people who know what they're doing. So it is very important to have a strategy around your marketing. If you think, I think a lot of people believe like social media is no big deal, anybody can do it. I can do it. It's just posting a few things. It's not a big deal. It takes 5 minutes. But but the reality is that you need somebody who knows your audience, knows your product, knows what your goals are for these things, and then is custom tailoring a plan for you in terms of your ad budget, in terms of your assets, in terms of your design, in terms of your content. Content creation, I think, is the part of social media where people get bogged up the most, and that's when you really need that strategist in there to talk with you about what your goals are, what your hopes are for this branding effort, this mission, and then really work with you to create a custom package of, blog articles, videos, images, all of these things that you need. And then the really important part about it is planning those things out in advance. So definitely social media is never going to work for you if you're just like every day you get up and you're like, I wonder what I'm going to post today, or I wonder what kind of article I can find. You need to be planning in advance. You need to be building a content calendar. You need to have some evergreen content in there, some content that you can use over and over, and just like a plan in place so that you can sit down a couple days a week and really schedule it out and plan it out, rather than having to look at it every single day and decide in the moment when you're going to post and what you're going to post.
Absolutely, because I feel that I think that there are some softwares or tools that entrepreneurs can use, and this is not taking anything away from a strategist. I think every business owner needs a marketing strategist, but there are some tools that is optional where they can be able to go in and they can be able to plan when to set their campaigns to be able to go out and what have you, but that, like I stated, that's a lot. And so why not just get the strategist to do all of that, for the business owner? It's a lot of work. That is a lot of work.
Yeah, and I think we also, it is a lot of work. And I think that's the thing people don't realize, is that social media can be a full-time job all on its own. But I think what prohibits people from doing that also is, a lot of times, is budget. We work with a lot of clients who have a very small budget. We work with a lot of independent filmmakers, for instance. And so sometimes, they can hire us to do the whole package, the strategy, the content creation, the scheduling, all of that. But that is, of course, an expensive endeavor. They still have to pay us to do that. It takes a lot of hours per month. And it's great when we can do that for a customer, but we also do a lot of consulting for people that don't have a big marketing budget right up front. So, we might consult with somebody for 90 minutes, or maybe like a total of, 3 or 4 hours broken up. And at that point, we would give them information on how to plan a content calendar, ideas on what kind of content they could program, tools that could help them make that. There are tons of online tools that people can use to make very simple designs, very simple videos. And then, of course, the scheduling tools, which, as I mentioned, and I will keep hammering in there, is very important for the social media side of things. So don't be discouraged. I would say, to small business owners, don't be discouraged if you feel like you don't have a large budget for marketing. You could always get somebody to help you with a consult, which is an easy and quick way and more economical way to sort of get that information, put your best foot forward out there in the marketing world.
Absolutely, because I would think that would be a waste of revenue for the entrepreneur to try to figure it out on their own, and maybe selecting the inappropriate or the wrong target versus having the marketing strategist already there, and they already know how to be able to bring the audience to the entrepreneur, and that would be more beneficial. I would think that would be a lot of waste of revenue and budgeting if I would have to go out and do it all by myself, and I don't have a clue of who I'm pitching these campaigns to. So, would think that would be more return on investments for entrepreneurs to be able to go in and be able to seek a strategist so they can make sure that, and a lot of times individuals, entrepreneurs will expect too much overnight. And that's another thing that I guess I wanted you to elaborate on as to being patient as while the campaign is going and while the campaign is completing and while the campaign is over, we still have to be, patient for the results.
Yes, you do have to be patient for the results. And then the other thing that I would say related to that is, I mentioned this a little bit earlier, is that don't discount brand awareness as a valuable marketing tool. So most people are looking for that hard ROI, right? They're looking for I spent X amount of dollars in marketing and I sold this many things and it didn't work. So that doesn't mean it didn't work. Even if somebody did not complete their purchase or did not reach out to contact you, every ad, think of it like a billboard, right? Everybody on social media is scrolling through their feed, and if they see your ad, even if they don't click on it or if they click on it and they don't purchase something, they have that ad in mind. And the more they see it, the more they're going to have that in mind. So think about particularly social media as a way to build your brand awareness in actually a more economical way than a hard cost of a billboard or a magazine print ad or something like that, where especially for billboards and print ads, you're not going to see those results. At least when you're doing it on social media, you have those digital numbers right there and you can see things. And then also I would say when you're running your campaign, up front at the first ones, especially do some testing. Test against different audiences, test the creative, see what is grabbing the most engagement, see what people are clicking on, see where people are purchasing. And then you can adjust things and make them run smoothly. And then the next time you run a campaign, you'll have a better idea of what's grabbing people's interest and what is working for you. And then while you're running that campaign, still do your organic social media, still reply to customers online, like comments, like interact with people, retweet things, reply to them. I think it's very important to build that personal interaction on social media, even as a brand. I mean, if you look at some of these big fast food brands like Wendy's or Taco Bell, they have that stuff dialed in. They're very funny. They're very quick. They reply to people, they retweet people, and people love it. And it builds that brand equity with them. That's just them interacting with people on social. That's all that is. They know their audience. They know what they like. They've got the targets down, and they have developed this amazing online social media persona that people love and gravitate to.
Oh, yes. So tell us a little bit about, that's a lot. That is a lot. And that is some very, very good food for thought when it comes to marketing. And so just to share a little brief little scenario, we was at a networking event, and so the individual had just came from completing I think it was a certificate, and so she was complaining. She was like, oh, I can't get in my audience. I can't do this and what have you. And so one of the options that I gave her, I said, well, since you have just become an entrepreneur, some things you may have to, people don't know anything about you. You have to sometimes offer some things free. You have to offer some webinars, some classes, or master classes online for free so you can be able to market yourself. And so she was not willing to do that. And I told her, I said, well, that $400 certificate that you just got, from your coaching or business class that you went to obtain, I said, it's going to sit there for a while until you learn the difference in between marketing yourself. You're not ready for that. These people, the world don't know anything about you. There are millions of people that are getting, coach degrees and coaching degrees and money management degrees and things. They don't know anything about you.
Yeah, and also like because that person didn't have any customers, and so there's no referral base, So like
Mhm.
a lot of
Mhm.
things like that depend on reviews and referrals, right? And so
Mhm. Mhm.
the way to do that is exactly what you said: offer a free webinar or give your services to a friend or family member for half an hour or something and have them write a
Mhm.
review for you. Don't discount
Okay.
the power of reviews. They are still very powerful. They are still a
Mhm.
very
Mhm.
powerful way. Word of mouth and loyal customers are still as integral to this whole process, especially on social media, as they are to anything else. So you're absolutely right. I mean, how is anybody going to know anything if I decided to become a designer, today? Nobody would
Mhm.
know me. Nobody would know, that I
Mhm.
design
Mhm.
anything. So how am I going to show people? I'm going to have to do a little bit of work on spec, a little bit of work on trade or for
Mhm.
free, or design something for a friend or family member and show it to
Mhm.
people. There's no
Mhm.
other way for people to get to know you.
Absolutely. I absolutely agree. So tell us a little bit about Smart House.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, so we're a marketing agency. I, I hesitate to say the word boutique, but sure, we're a,
Okay.
a little boutique marketing agency, just because it sounds kind of pretentious, but I'll roll with it here.
Yeah.
So we work with a lot of creative entrepreneurs, and what that means is primarily we work with independent film directors or producers, but we also have
Mhm.
worked with musicians. We also work with a Pilates studio. We also work
Mhm.
with a big classical arts organization on the UW campus. So we do pretty much, it's like arts focused, but we do branch out once in a while when people find us. The reason
Mhm.
that we are mostly independent film focused is because of that word of mouth that I mentioned earlier. So, we do marketing for one director and we do a great job, and then they tell another director they know or another producer they know, and then the word just kind of spreads out from there in these sort of larger and larger circles. And
Mhm.
it's great, and we love it. So we do a lot of social media, of course, social media management, consulting. We do crowdfunding consulting for a lot of these filmmakers or people that have a creative project, because there are so many crowdfunding platforms, so we can work with you to figure out which one is best, create a content calendar for you, talk you through what assets you need, give you feedback on those pieces, help you create them even if that's what you need, a poster, a log line, etc., video.
Mhm.
And then we also do a lot of publicity campaigns. So good old-fashioned PR.
Mhm.
We research the media in whatever area we're trying to target, and by interest and all those things, and then we create a press release and we send it out, and we do follow-ups with the people, and just try to get as much coverage for those customers as possible. We
Mhm.
can also combine those services together, and then we do like an overall marketing strategy bucket as well. So it's kind of like we do a little bit of everything, and we can swoosh it all together, or we can break it apart into pieces depending on what your
Mhm.
needs are at the time and what your budget is allowing for as well.
Oh wow, that is a lot. That is a lot, and so that is the reason why it's very very important to make sure that you have all of the information, the credentials up under one umbrella that you need versus you having to try to figure it out by yourself. In regards to having a strategist. So in marketing, this is something that we rarely hear today, but I would love for you to be able to discuss on this topic, and it's called positioning in marketing, because a lot of it, like I stated, a lot of times we launch out, okay, and so I got this. I may have the money and I may have the marketing
Mhm.
strategist and what have you and stuff, but how do I position? And so a lot of entrepreneurs will be going all over the place, and then sometimes if you come in and you may give advice to individuals, and you you on the left side, and no, you're supposed to be over here on the right side. And so they're supposed to be in a spot where they can be noticed and where they can be able to stay, where people can be able to relate to their product and their services. So this is where you come in at as the marketing strategist and telling the audience about what positioning means.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, positioning has so many parts to it, I think, but it does tie directly into your, both your branding and your audience, right? So for your positioning, you want to think about what perception you want people to have of your brand and your products. Like, essentially, what is your brand's personality? And what action you want those people to take once they know that, but also who you're targeting to, and establishing, your image and identity in a way that makes all of those pieces come together. But that also includes thinking about what else is out there that is competition for you, right? So if there are, say if you're going to start a food truck and you're like, I have this great idea, I want to start a gourmet hot dog food truck, but then you do your research and there's already 5 other hot dog food trucks, then maybe that's not the right avenue for you to go, or maybe it still is, but you need to think about what's going to set you apart from those other people that are doing that same thing. So that's, your positioning, thinking about how you're going to put yourself out there into the world, who you're up against, who your audience is, and what makes you different. Why are people going to come to you as opposed to going to somebody else who's doing a similar or same thing? And that's, social media can be a great way to distinguish yourself in that way by making yourself different using that tool.
Absolutely. So what are some additional tips that you can share with the audience to be beneficial for them and the takeaways that you would want them to know about marketing?
Yeah, I think just, recognizing that it's important, recognizing that not everybody can do it, so it's a very good idea to have a person who knows what they're doing on your side, on your team. And also, I would say being really authentic in every interaction you have, especially on social media. And by authentic, I mean, don't fake it. If you have to think about your brand as an extension of yourself, essentially. And so I think what drives me crazy, particularly on social media, is when I see brands putting content out there that has nothing to do with their brand. So going back to the food truck example, like, I'm trying to think of something that would make sense. But okay. So let's say that you are, there's a lot of memes, a lot of social media memes. And I see a lot of people jump on the bandwagon of the memes without really having an idea of what those things mean. So maybe you're a suit company or something, and maybe you have like a lot of men's suits that you sell, and then you're like, Female Filmmaker Friday. Like, what? Why? Why would you talk about female filmmakers? What is that related to? Just because it's a popular meme or a hashtag does not mean that you should be jumping on that bandwagon. And people who follow you are going to catch on to that stuff real quick. And they're going to be like, why? Why is this person posting about this? Has nothing to do with them. It's not an authentic piece of their brand. So I would say just maybe that's my additional tip. Be very wary about jumping on the bandwagon of these popular things, especially on social media, and only participate in things if it really makes sense for your branding and your marketing personality.
I absolutely agree. I was just at a networking event, and so after receiving the card from one of the attendants, I think they explained to us at the table. We had an individual table that we could sit at with experts that were sitting there too, and so it was stated that she worked for She was a magazine designer or something like that. But once I, after everything was over with and I came home and I looked at the website, it didn't have nothing to do with magazines. And so I was kind of turned off a little bit by it. And so I think, as you stated, we need to make sure that we're in relationship with whatever our product and brand is. So I agree with that. So with the last question, Amie, how can the listeners find you? How can they connect with you?
Yeah, you can find our agency on social media, on Twitter and Instagram at Team Smarthouse, and on Facebook at Smarthouse Creative. And then, of course, our website is just smarthousecreative.com.
Great. So thank you so much for being our guest on today. We have learned a lot from you. You have added so much to the social media world, to the entrepreneurs. This is just so awesome about the information, tools, and resources that you were able to bring, from your experience and your expertise with over to the broadcast on today. So thank you so much for taking the opportunity to be our guest on today.
Thanks for having me on. Have a great day.
Great. So for all upcoming events listeners, you can go to our website at www.womenwhorockwithsuccess.com. Till next Tuesday, we'll see you later.